My name is Christian Puckett. This is Peacekeeper. Okay, I'm just gonna hit record and there we go. We are on. Okay, I was gonna actually check my Anchor app, which is the platform that I post these podcasts on, to see what number I'm at because I don't really remember. So I'm on, okay, so this is going to be episode 22. All right, audio sounds good. Bump it down just a little bit. And here we go, episode number 22. Hello, everyone. It's kind of been a minute. I've been busy and podcasting has been bumped a little bit to burner 4 or 5 or 6. I don't even know. But I feel like I'm going to be entering sort of a second season with this podcast, if you will. So welcome to Peacekeeper. I keep saying stamina, or I keep wanting to say stamina because I just got so used to that. Peacekeeper. I think I said Peacekeeper. Peacekeeper season 2 starts now with episode 22. Yeah, I think going forward, it's going to be a little bit different. I enjoyed having guests on, and I continue to enjoy having guests on, but it's a lot different having guests on. You are just sort of at the mercy of wherever the conversation goes. Of course, I can steer it, I can direct it, but I can't just like brain melt, vent. I could, I guess, if it's the right person. But in order to have a functioning conversation, it kind of has to, be a two-way street. You have to have good back and forth. And I had that for sure. And I will have that in the future. But right now, you can't see it. But there's currently a crib where the guest seat was. So that kind of tells you where I'm at. All good. I love a nice crib in the office / third bedroom / podcast room. It's fine. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of got it out of my system for a while. I think this next season, quote unquote, is gonna be mostly me, just because it's easier. It's really hard orchestrating with other people as well. Just when I literally have such a specific window I can do these podcasts in, and even then it's really hard to pull it off. So I think just, going forward for the next chunk of time, guests will come back, and I'll in the future I'll continue to have people on, but right now it's just going to be solo season. And I'm very cool with that. All right. Let's see here. I wrote down 7. Okay, let me also say a little bit more as far as, housekeeping stuff. I'm probably going to miss a week. I'm probably going to miss 2 weeks, maybe more. I'm going to continue to aim to record once a week. That's going to be the goal, but let's be honest, that's not going to happen a lot of the times just because stuff pops up. Oh my goodness, does stuff pop up? Like, I'll get into it later. Okay, so yeah, I'll miss a couple weeks, no big deal, all good. I'm playing the long game, right? I was actually thinking about it this last week. I've recorded over 50 episodes of a podcast, including the last podcast I was on, We did about 30, 35. We didn't release a handful of them. And then I'm on 22 here. So yeah, that puts me over 50 podcasts recorded, which is not nothing. That's pretty good. 50, I would say 50 is a good number to where it's not just I am still goofing around, goofing off, taking it seriously, not taking it seriously. But 50. Okay, so I have 50 episodes experience. So I'm getting a little bit more comfortable. That's kind of cool. Okay, so yeah, where to start with this episode? Okay, so I'm gonna the last solo episode I did was like 3 months ago, which was kind of a long time ago. And a lot has changed since then. Gosh, life just changes so fast. Okay, so let me check my notes here. I think I started with number one was my new job. I'll just start there. Okay. So I started a new position at Whole Foods. The position is the produce department order writer. So essentially my job is bringing in, I guess from like a high level, it's bringing in all the product. But I guess zooming in a little bit more, it's you're the buyer and you're like the budget guy. So I'm the budget guy in the produce department, which is kind of interesting because I've never had it's kind of like an accounting job, honestly. And a lot of it is at a desk or a tablet. So I'd say maybe 75% of my shift it's a lot of screens. Yeah, a lot of screen time. It's funny. I was looking at my screen time went down this last week because Emily and I are trying to be on our phones a little bit less. But I got my weekly screen time report, and it was like, congratulations. It doesn't say congratulations because it wants you on your phone, but it says, does it? I don't actually remember if it's encouraging you to be on your phone less. I would imagine not. But anyway, I got the notification. It said, hey, your screen time was down 20% this week from last week, for an average of an hour and 55 minutes. So my screen time is typically around, it's typically between the 2 and 3 hour. Oh, a day? Yeah, a day mark on average. It's typically at 2 hours and 30 minutes. But this week it was at an hour and 55 minutes average per day. And I looked at my top apps used, and the second top app after DuckDuckGo was my calculator. It's like, you were on your calculator for 3 hours last week total. I was like, damn, okay. That's kind of nice, right? I mean, it's not, what could it be? It's not Clash of Clans, right? It's it's the calculator. So anyway, yeah, it's a lot of calculating, it's a lot of calculators, it's a lot of budgeting, it's a lot of purchase planning, it's a lot of forecasting, it's a lot of working with this specific application called PAM, which stands for Produce Automated Movement. And it's kind of interesting because it's very much an algorithm. Like, my job is to kind of manage this algorithm that spits out these forecasts based off of previous year's movement, based off of previous week's movement, based off of forecasts, based off inputs that I'm putting into it on a daily basis. You have to be so incredibly meticulous with this app. And if you fat finger just like one number, one input, that could be a $200 mistake. That could be $1,000 mistake. I'm I'm managing a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Like in just 1 week, I'm spending half of my mortgage, half of my entire mortgage, like for the 30 years. So just the volume that we just rip through on a weekly basis is pretty staggering. It's just like crazy. I'm like, okay, I'm in charge of a lot of money. With that comes a lot of accountability, responsibility, a lot of communication, a lot of checking in. It's okay though. I actually genuinely enjoy it. It's just challenging enough. It's mentally stimulating. It's a set morning schedule. 5 a.m. to 1 a.m. or 5 a.m. to 1 p.m. 5 days a week. So that alone, I'll be honest, that's the main reason I'm in this position. That's the main reason I went for it, is because set schedule, that's top priority. And it's good. It's good. I'm learning a lot of Excel, a lot of emailing, a lot of screens. But it's good though. It's definitely the most adult job I've ever had. And I'm enjoying it. Yeah, a lot of the previous people in this position have, I would say, cracked, because it's a high stress job for sure. I've been told from many people surrounding this position and above this position that it's one of the highest stress positions in the store. I see, and people say that, and now that I'm in it, I disagree. I actually don't think it is. In fact, I think it's not as difficult as people say it was. Granted that you have the right mentality, and you know how to control yourself, you know how to manage your stress, you know you're good at email etiquette, you're good at explaining yourself, you're intuitive, maybe that's it. I don't know. I think I get it, and so it's not that bad. Many worse positions. Okay. So, yeah, I started a new job. I probably started it 2 months ago. And so that's sort of been a reason that I've been slacking. There's been many reasons I've been slacking on the podcast, but that's probably the top priority. It's just because I've been really focused on this position. And I guess the job I was in previously was more of a physical job. And so I was like, yeah, this is easy. I need something else to do to kind of stimulate my brain a little bit. And that's what, pouring into this podcast was. But now I'm really pouring all of my mental energy and mental resources into this position, or what I have been. And so I've kind of just been, there hasn't been a craving to do this podcast. But now I feel like I'm in a comfortable enough place to where I can again turn the podcast burner back on. So that's good. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm content. It's funny, an opportunity presented itself to me within a month. Yeah, within a month of being in this position, to moving into a potentially higher position. And I was literally just like, no, I'm sorry. No, I can't do it. I'm just going to focus on what's in front of me. And that's going to be this position right here. Because with other positions and moving up comes a lot of undesirable parts that I'm just not interested in, i.e. set schedule is my focus, is my priority. So that's why I'm going to stay in this position for a long time. Okay. Yeah, Whole Foods. I'm like trying to be kind of not very specific. I don't know. I don't know if companies like, not that anybody's got eyeballs on me. I know that. But when this is the sole income providing for my entire life and my entire family's like life right now, you know, I just like to be careful. Don't like to spill too many beans. Don't want to say the wrong thing. Don't want to, whatever. Okay, that's Whole Foods. All right, what's next? Next is, okay. So let me set the scene a little bit. First of all, Emily and I are crazy. We don't know what we're doing. Sometimes I feel like we're masochistic. We put ourselves in these positions of just like torturing ourselves and like adding way too much on our plate when we're like we're not barely getting by. We're fine. I'm just being exaggerative. But okay, so literally 3 days ago, Emily and I were going for a walk, and for whatever reason, it kind of just got into my head. So I'll just say, this is going to reveal it, but I've never been a dog person, never been a puppy person. Not to say that I don't like dogs and I don't like puppies, but they're a lot. They're high energy, high maintenance. And, you know, I was really close with 2 dogs growing up, but I've never had a dog to myself. Dogs have been around. They've been fine. I've just kind of like, I'm a cat person for whatever reason. I just think they're a little bit easier, lower maintenance in my opinion. You know, but I've been thinking it would be like, there are good aspects to dogs. And I've been thinking lately, security, that's a really good trait that dogs provide. Just somebody to, you know, an extra set of eyes on the house, an extra watchman and watchdog for the property, a little alarm system. And I've just been kind of thinking, or I was thinking 3 days ago for the first time, this has not been on Emily and I's radar in any capacity. In fact, we've been proud of the fact that we are not dog owners until 3 days ago. So I was just, we were on the walk and I was like, you know what? It kind of would be nice to just have a little watchdog for our house. And so we were like, okay, what if we just went to Animal Humane, right? The city, or I don't even know if it's connected to the city, but it's the local animal shelter here in town in Albuquerque. Let's just go look around. Let's just go see if there's like any dog, any buddy, Buddy. Is that how you say buddy? Is that how you spell it? Anyway, any good old pal, any good boys that we'll just look. And we did a lap and we saw a couple cute dogs. Aesop was freaking out at the pound because he hasn't been around a lot of dogs. So we're walking around and all these dogs are barking and jumping at the windows, and he's clinging onto me and squeezing me and kind of freaking out a little bit. So we're like, okay, maybe not. But then we got to the last room, and I know that's how they set up, the loop, is that they put all the not so desirable dogs. Like, you have to walk the path first and see all these sad dogs. There was a massive dog. There's some big boys in there. A lot of sadness in there too. I feel bad for these poor pups. But then, of course, at the last room, that's where they got the puppies, the newcomers. And so there was three little boy puppies, all about 10 weeks old. And Aesop, as soon as he saw them, he went, "Puppy?" So we're like, "Oh, okay." And so we're like, "Okay, can we take a look at these two?" And so we got into a room with two of the pups, and one of them was like goofy and kind of big and really floppy and wants his belly scratched. And the other one was a little bit higher energy, but he was a little bit sharper, you could tell. And so we messed around with both of them, and they were cute, but they weren't really like completely tugging at our hearts, but they were just like, "Oh, these are nice dogs." And then we saw them both individually, and then Emily and I were like, "Okay, let's just like take a walk outside. Like, let's just talk about it." And we literally chatted outside in the shade outside of Animal Humane for about 30 minutes, just like totally on the fence, just like, dang, should we do this? Like, are we crazy? What are we doing? Like, should we get this dog? Should we get a dog at all? Are we in over our heads? We have a 2-year-old. We've got a 4-month-old. We've got, the cat. Like, do we need a dog right now? And I don't know. We were just going back and forth and back. And both of us were into it and then so not into it, because we know how much work it is. But for me, it was like, okay, there is utility in a good dog, and that's going to be loyalty. That's going to be, a playmate and friendship for the boys. Security, alarm system. Like, there are good aspects that with time, with proper training, all that stuff, you will reap the reward of all the input that you've put into a good dog. And that goes the other way, right? I mean, if you neglect it and don't train it and no rules, then you're going to end up with kind of just like a lemon of a mutt. So yeah, we were both trying to convince ourselves to do it, to not do it, and then I think I could tell that she was starting to slip away. Emily was leaning 51% towards not doing it, and I was kind of leaning 51% towards doing it. And I think it was just like, it's like a tattoo. That's what we were saying. We're like, it's got to be spontaneous, but you also have to be like prepared, and you have to have a plan in place. And so we were like, I think we were waiting for just one of us to be like, "Okay, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's go for it." And I kind of did that. I was just kind of like, it's going to be okay. Like, we're going to make it work. At the end of the day, if it's a complete disaster and he's not getting along with the kids and he's ripping apart everything in the house and barking and howling at night, and like, it's just like a complete mess, we can just bring him back. Right? I mean, obviously you don't want to do that, but in the contract I signed, like, one of the things that I signed was I'm aware that I can bring this dog back. And then if I can't even bring him back, we could just give him away, right? Like, we could figure it out. We would eat, a $200 investment, but whatever. But I was like, okay, let's just do it. It's a $150 adoption fee. We got this used kennel, or not kennel, crate that they had. It was like $40, and then just like a couple other small things, collar, puppy pads and stuff. But it was like $200, maybe $250 total. And so we brought him home, and we were just like, every hour would go by. We're just like, what did we just do? Oh my God, we just got a puppy. And just the reality of it would sink in and out of either one of us on any given hour or day. And it was just, there was times where we were just like, okay, you know what? Like, yeah, this is great. Like, he's a good little boy. He's a good pup. And then the next hour, one of us is just in the restroom, and then the dog poops and pees on the floor. Emily's breastfeeding. Aesop starts crying, and there's just like, it gets very overwhelming very quickly. Because we're essentially outnumbered, Emily and I. And anyway, it's a lot, but he's so great. I love him. He's so cute. He's so sweet. His name is Link, and he's a little white dog. Okay, so that's another thing, is that he's part pit bull. Which we were not aware of that when we bought him. So what happened is that we had no idea what breed he was. And I was reading about this after the fact. Animal shelters will intentionally, not will, but they could and they can, and they've been shown to misidentify or, not be completely transparent about if a dog is a pit bull or if it's like a pit mix or if there's pit bull in it, because that's like really off-putting to a lot of people. And I'll be honest, I know nothing. I'm so far removed from the dog world, from dog culture, from different breeds. I don't know anything about dogs. All I know is that I've had 2 dogs growing up. But there is this stigma. There is this like cultural kind of looking down upon pit bulls. And had I known he was a pit mix, we wouldn't have taken him for sure. So anyway, it was literally like as we were bringing him to the car, I was like, do I see a little bit of pit bull in this dog? I mean, it's not clear. It's not, there's no way for us to know, but I downloaded this pet scanner, flimsy AI app on my phone where you take a little picture, record a short video of your dog, and it'll tell you roughly, it's different every single time. So you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt. But just like what breed your dog is. And so I did a couple scans, couple videos, and it looks like there's for sure a little bit of pit bull in him, whether it's 10%, whether it's 20%, whether it's 50%. I don't really know, but it looks like he's a Labrador pit mix mainly, or some sort of like retriever pit. Because he's got kind of Labrador ears, and he's really like soft. Like he doesn't have short hair. He's got pretty long hair. Anyway, all that to say, he's a mutt. He's a mixed breed. Probably got a little bit of pit bull in him. But then we were watching a bunch of videos after the fact of just like All right, let's hear a good defense of pit bulls, because he's not a pit bull. Like, he's not a purebred pit bull by any stretch of the imagination. He's a cluster dog. He's a mixed mutt. You can just see that he's got some pit in him. So we were just like doing a little bit of research of just like, okay, let's hear a defense of the pit dog, the pit bull dog. And a lot of the stuff we were reading and listening and watching was just like, yo, pit bulls can be some of the sweetest and most intelligent dogs out there. It's just like they've got a bad rap because first they were bred back in the day, like way back in the day. And I guess maybe still currently, if that's still going on, I'm sure it's still going on. But they were bred as like, for like dog fighting. And apparently they have like this inherent trait to where whenever they bite, they don't let go. So they don't just like bite and then let go and run off or whatever. They bite and hold, which is undesirable. You know, obviously you don't want your dog biting anybody. But a lot of the videos were talking about nature versus nurture, and a lot of people are just like, yo, that is what happens when you train a dog specifically to be a fighter, whenever you abuse it, whenever you neglect it, whenever it's not stimulated. But Emily and I have been like, since we know that now, since we know that he's got a little bit of pit bull in him, we're like being very intentional with like keeping an eye, just like trying to observe him. And I literally, like, the past 3 days straight, like, I am analyzing this dog and I'm observing him, and I do not see a percentage point of aggression in him whatsoever. Like, he is literally the sweetest, friendliest, most playful, wholesome dog I've ever seen. Of course, obviously he's like a puppy right now, so he's still like really cute and like hasn't developed any sort of aggressive traits. But I was like, yo, this is going to be the most calm, well, maybe not calm because we've got 2 kids, but most peaceful, playful, friendly environment this dog could ever grow up in. Like, we're not like, there's going to be no abuse. There's going to be no neglect. There's going to be abundance of love and play. And anyway, all that to say, man, I've been rambling, but I'm just trying to convince myself that I made the right decision, because that switches on an hourly basis. But no, overall, I think on paper, it was a bad decision. We should not have done that. We should not have gone to Animal Humane. We should not have spontaneously picked up a pit bull. He's not a pit bull. He's a pit mix. He's a mix with a little bit of pit. But, okay, and then kind of going back a little bit, if I do want a watchdog, if I do want a security dog, if I want somebody by my side to like protect the house, protect the family, maybe it's actually not the worst thing to have a dog that appears to be, or that could be, a little bit more on the aggressive side. He's not. He's a little fluff ball. But maybe when he's fully grown and he's an adult, he could look intimidating. But yeah, I don't see an ounce of aggression in him. He gets along with the cat. This morning when I let him out to go pee and poop, there was a skunk in our backyard. I was like, oh shit, get back inside. But he like didn't go chase it. He sleeps, which I think puppies, all puppies sleep. But he sleeps through the night. He doesn't whine or yelp when he's in his crate, he's pooped inside a handful of times, but like that's just how it goes, right? I mean, Emily and I, we're just immune to poop and pee and spit up and throw up and all that stuff right now. So not a big deal. Overall though, he's such a good dog. I'm really happy. Like, okay, so what I was saying, on paper, bad decision. We should not have done that. But we lucked out so far. I mean, obviously, yeah, we're 3 or 4 days in. He seems to be pretty revealing of what his temperament and personality is going to look like. Like I think that stuff's kind of apparent from the start. But who knows? I mean, we're going to be very intentional with training him. We are going to make sure that he's around as many puppies as possible, as many other dogs as possible, as many people as possible, as many environments as possible. That, like, they gave us a guidebook, and it was essentially this rule of 12s for puppies. And essentially what it was is that in order for you to have like a really well-balanced dog that's like sociable and friendly and not going to get you in trouble or, you know, get in fights or anything like that, you have to introduce him and expose him to 12 different items by the time he's 12 weeks old. And what I mean by 12 different items is that, okay, so you have to have him familiar on a weekly basis with 12 different people, with 12 different dogs, with 12 different like environments, with 12 different toys, 12 different like eating, like have him eat food in 12 different locations, have him be on 12 different surfaces. So there was like 15 different things of just like, make sure you introduce him to 12 of these things or these times or whatever it is. And so I was like, okay, that's a good guide. Because again, Emily and I were new to this dog world, and we got all the literature, all the information. So we're going to take it seriously. And I think we're taking it more seriously because maybe it's okay. I was thinking that it was kind of looked down upon to like even mess around with owning a pit bull. Again, he's not a pit bull. This is how my brain works. But Emily was like, dude, no, like pit bulls are like one of the most common dogs ever. You just have to be intentional with it. With any dog can be aggressive. Any dog can be a sweet fluff ball. Like, it's not inherent in this one specific breed. And maybe that aggression only comes out whenever it's like traumatized or just like abused or in fight or flight, defend itself mode. And it's like, this puppy is not going to be there. Okay. Anyway. So yeah, we got a new puppy. His name is Link. He's 10 weeks old. He's a good little boy. He's got a lot of energy. He plays with Aesop. Aesop likes him maybe 80% of the time. The other 20% is when the dog is too stimulating for Aesop, and he'll like kind of like jump up on Aesop, and Aesop's just not in the mood. You know, he just woke up from a nap. He's tired. He's hungry. And he'll start like big crying. He's just like, get away from me. Aesop likes his personal space. And puppy does not know what personal space is. So yeah, we are starting down this puppy path. Oh my goodness. High energy in the house right now. A lot going on. Aesop he's talking a lot these days. He's very vocal with his desires, with his food preferences, with his activity preferences. Overall, I mean, oh my God, Aesop, love the kid. He's so sweet. Ira, he's 4 months now, and he's big. He's a big, beefy boy. He's like a sturdy, stacked little monkey. He's way bigger than Aesop was when Aesop was 4 months old. He's going to eclipse Aesop. There's no doubt about it. He's demanding when he has his heart set on not doing what he's currently doing. Yeah, he's kind of fussy, but only when he's discontent. He's just discontent more. I think Aesop was just a content baby. He's just particular, Ira. But it's fine. Like, I get it, right? I'm particular too. I'm annoying. Like, I'm fussy when I have no control over or no say in how my life goes, how my day goes. So I get it. And I think in 2 months, I think once he can sit up by himself, Emily and I think that he'll be good. And then there's the puppy. I don't know how long it's going to take for us to catch a good rhythm. I'm guessing it's probably going to be 2 or 3 months of just yeah. Yeah, Emily and I, we know how to fill up our plate. It's just nonstop. We're just so busy. Which brings me to my third point that I wanted to discuss. Third or fourth, I don't remember where I'm at. School. So just another thing on my plate. So I started, oh my goodness. Okay. Okay, so I started school. I started summer classes at CNM last week, May 15th. And I started just with 2. The first one was Intro to Artificial Intelligence, and then the second one was this like data management and visualization class, both online. And I was really, I was like, yeah, okay, I'm actually genuinely interested in both of these classes. Let's go. So I started both of those last week, and the first one, the Intro to AI, is great. I'm actually really enjoying that class so far. In fact, I should probably be doing that right now. I'll probably do that after I'm done recording this podcast. Yeah, it's really interesting. It's just kind of talking about, the basics of AI, ethics, use cases, definitions, terminology, what it's going to look like in the future, how it's affecting our lives. It's very much a 101 class, but that's what I need. And then so the other one, I gave it a good go. I really did. It's the data management and visualization class. It's tough with online because it can either be awesome or it could be like a big disappointment. And it really, I feel I've found that it really depends on the instructor or the professor or whoever is setting up the online class. Makes a huge difference whether or not it's like graspable, easy to understand, whether you have all the resources you have at hand. And so the Intro to AI class, I just knew as soon as I signed up, as soon as I signed in for the first time, looked at the syllabus, looked at the schedule, I was like, okay, whoever set this up, good job. Like, you know exactly what you're doing. You know what people doing online school expect, what they want, what they need, what they don't need. And the second class was just like, damn it. Like, this guy is not setting me up for success. Like, you just know as soon as you sign into an online class for the first time and you look at the schedule and everything's just like from last semester or from like 2 years ago. You know, it's got an old schedule, an old outline. You're like, I'm looking through, you know, like the course calendar and stuff, and I'm just like confused. I'm like, wait, what? Like, where is this thing? Okay, so I finally found like the first module I was supposed to open, and I went through everything, and I was just so confused. I was like, what do you want me to do here? I don't understand. It's not the content. It's just like the way it's structured and set up is just, it's just like, dude, you know what? I could fucking like, if I really had to, okay, I can like spend hours trying to figure out exactly what I need to do, where everything is, do a lot of research on my own. Like, it kind of just seemed like everything was set up and it was kind of just like not much intentionality in there. So I ended up dropping that one just because I was like, dude, I don't have time right now. Like, it kind of seemed like the instructor did not respect my time. And it's like, I don't have time to go deep diving into how to figure out this class. So I'm just doing one. And you know what? I'm okay with that. I am perfectly content with just taking one online class right now. I don't need to be pushing myself at the moment. I'm stretched as thin as I've ever been stretched, and I'm good. And the other class, it was more of like an Excel focused class. And I know, like, of course I will do it at some point, right? Because I'm currently doing this artificial intelligence and machine learning program at CNM, and that's a required class. So I'll do it at some point, but I'm going to see if I can take that class in person next semester, or, you know, I'm good, right? Like, I'll do this stuff in person. I 100% prefer in person over online, just for my learning style. Unless the class is set up to where, like the one I'm taking, it's like all laid out, very clear what expectations are. But some classes, and that was another thing, is that the instructor for the one I dropped, literally the first video I watched from him, first of all, the audio was terrible, and the you can just tell, you know, right? People who like have it and who don't have it. But it was just this like shitty quality video, like 360p, terrible audio recorded with a calculator video. And he was like, literally within the first 5 minutes, he was like, yeah, if you're taking this class online, you probably shouldn't. You probably need to take this class in person. And I was like, dude, don't say that. Like, for people that are taking this class online, which was probably like 30 people, like, that's not what I want to hear first thing. Like, yeah, that can be the sentiment, but don't say that. So yeah, he was, if I was like, okay, if the instructor is saying I shouldn't take this class online, and based off what I've seen, I have no problem dropping this class. I'll take it next semester. No big deal. Where was I going with that? Yeah. Anyway, I'll take these classes at some point. It's going to be It's going to be slow and steady, though. I'm good. I have no need. I have no desire to cram 3 to 4 to 5 classes per semester. It's summer classes, right? Maybe in the fall I'll take 2 or 3, but I really want to try to do in person if I can. Okay, so that's school. Yeah, just one part-time class online right now. And it's cool. Yeah, I enjoy it. I think it'll be good for me. Um, okay, that's cool. All right, let's see what's next. Zelda. Okay. Okay. Let's see where to start with this one. Okay. So 10 days ago, 11 days ago, 2 weeks ago, we got gifted upon us all a new Zelda game. And for me, that's a really big deal. So for people that don't know what Zelda is just a video. It's a video game franchise from Nintendo. So it's like a Japanese developed video game with a lot of history. The first Zelda game came out in the 80s, if not the 80s, in the early 90s. But like on the NES, the Super NES. So there's been like 20 entries in this video game franchise. And there's just a lot of experience. Okay, so anyway, there's a lot of experience with this game and how to make a Zelda game. And so the last mainline Zelda game that came out in 2017. And that's when I got back into video games. It was this game. It was essentially 2 games. It was Zelda Breath of the Wild, and then the other one was Stardew Valley. Both of those games back in 2017 kind of brought me back into video games. And so Zelda Breath of the Wild, which came out in 2017, that game was my favorite game of all time. So good. It's just a phenomenal video game. And it is widely regarded as the best video game of all time from numerous reviewers, websites, within the video game industry. I've talked about this before, but widely regarded as the best video game of all time. There is these scores that video games get, that one of them is called a Metacritic score, and the other one is called an Open Critic score. And it essentially takes the aggregate, it creates this like number, this average number from everybody ranking their score, their review of any given game, and they'll take the average of that and they'll put it into a score. And so if you create a video game and you publish a video game and it essentially gets above a 7, I'm sorry, if it gets above a 70, so they put it out of 100 points, so 1 to 100. If you can get over a 70, that means your average score was 7 out of 10. That's actually really hard to do. So anything over a 70 or more is generally like, okay, this is a playable game. Anything below a 70 is just like, don't waste your time. Anything above a 90, anything that is 90 or higher is like it's essentially in must play territory. And it's really hard to get an average score of a 90 or higher. So Zelda, the last one, Breath of the Wild 2017, that one on Metacritic is sitting at a 97 out of an average of like 200 reviews. So if your average score from 200 reviews is 97, then it's pretty safe to assume that that's going to be a pretty damn good game. And so I put in probably 250 hours total into the last Zelda game. I put a lot of time into that game, and I was playing that game during a season of my life that was pretty low. I was going through a lot of health issues. That was essentially it. It was just like, that was the game that like I would kind of honestly escape to. I mean, I'm not going to deny that it's a form of escape. But yeah, there was, some dark down seasons, between 2018 and 2021 that that game provided a lot of comfort to me, and it meant a lot to me. Still means a lot to me. I'll forever, remember that game, and probably go back to it at some point, with the kids, if they're interested. Okay, so that was 2017. Now it's 2023. So literally it was 7 years. It was like a 6 to 7 year development. I'm sure COVID, probably tacked on an extra year or two to the development delay. But anyway, I've been waiting for this game to come out for 6 years. I've just the anticipation of waiting and waiting and waiting for the next installment, for the next Zelda release. Like, it has been my most anticipated game of all time, was this new Zelda game. It's called Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And oh my God, it finally released. It released on May 12th. So 2 weeks ago. And pause for effect. It's so good. It's so damn good. Obviously, for people that don't know about video games, don't care about video games, you're not gonna, that's fine. I don't expect people to get it, but I'm just so glad. I wasn't expecting it to be a second Triumph. And that's exactly what it is. It's a back-to-back home run from the Zelda team. They created back-to-back masterpieces. And this is what I feel, but also this is the sentiment around within the entire video game industry. It's just everybody's amazed with this game. It's okay. So I mentioned that there was Metacritic and OpenCritic, two websites that virtually do the exact same thing. Metacritic is more just like entertainment, scores. So they'll do movies and TV shows and video games and all that. And then OpenCritic is video game specific. And it's kind of newer. So on OpenCritic, currently, Tears of the Kingdom is the highest rated game of all time. It's at a 97 And then actually on OpenCritic, the last one is at 96. Anyway, anything above a 90 is incredible. Anything above a 95 is just like top 0.1% of all games. But this one has at least matched the hype, the score, the public opinion of the last one, if not exceeded it. For me, it has exceeded my love for the last one. So like, if you asked me 2 weeks ago what my favorite video game of all time is and what I recommend people should play, 100% Breath of the Wild. Like, you have to play that game. If you ask me right now, it's incredible how this game is just like completely superseded, overshadowed the last one, to where like I'm like, no. Don't even waste your time with Breath of the Wild, because this new game is literally that times 4. Like, it's so much bigger. It's so much more refined. It's so much more polished. It's so much more alive. There's so much more to do. It's so much more satisfying. The music is so much better. The audio is like impeccable. There's like almost three, like I would say almost 4, but I'll just say 3.5 essentially layers to this game. So the last game, there was just this one map, and the main point of the last game was just exploring this map on an X and Y axis. But this one has essentially added a Z axis. So you're literally exploring that same map, but everything is completely different. But it's the same base map. But then there's literally there's this, so it's called the depths. So there's essentially an entire underground map that's the same size as the main map. So you go into these like tunnels, and then you're just spit out into it's called the depths. And it's like creepy and spooky and underground, like caverns. That's the same size as the main map. So it's literally, okay, so that's double the game right there. And then on top of it, there's a whole level in the sky called the Sky Islands, and it's just like littered with all these like elaborate and intricate and unique islands that are floating in the sky, and you have to try to figure out how to get up there. And okay, so there's the sky, there's the surface, and then there's the underground. And then along the surface, like in between the surface and the depths, there's these cave systems that are sort of like, it's not a part of the underground, but there's like a level in between the surface and the depths of just these, like, some of them are, you spend 5 minutes in there, but others are just like, oh my God, like this is just going so much further and deeper than I was expecting. And so, okay, so this is really interesting. And I don't know how to feel about this, but so again, if you're listening at this point, good on you. Anyway, okay, so the Switch, it tells you how many hours, like this is how I know how many hours I've played of all these games, is that the Switch kind of keeps track of everything and tells you roughly, like it does it in 5-hour increments. So after 10 days from you starting to play a video game, then it'll start giving you that information of like how long you've been playing. And so I can see, on past games, okay, it says on the last Zelda game, you've played this game for 250 hours. Um, there was another one that came out recently that I put like maybe like 20 hours into. Um, still a lot of time. But anyway, okay, so it won't tell you how many hours you played until you hit the 10-day mark. So I've been kind of just like, I haven't known. I'm like, I don't know how many hours I've played of this game. But on day 9, I was like, okay, how many hours do I think I've played of this game? I'll find out tomorrow. I was like, it's got to be like maybe 10 hours, maybe 15, like maybe 15 hours. Again, because it goes in 5-hour increments. Because I was just like, I've just been so busy. I've been working. I've been doing school, the kids, the puppy. There's just like so many things that I just like have not been able to play. That's what I was thinking. I was like, I just haven't had time to play this game. I was like, okay, so it's going to show up tomorrow, probably at 10, 15 hours. And then the next day I checked. I was like, okay, let's see how many hours I played. I had played for 35 hours. I was like, holy, what? Like, what? That's crazy. I was literally off by like 20 hours. I was like, how did this game do that? Like, I've just been like, that's crazy. The fact that I was off by such a huge number, I feel was just revealing of how entranced I was in this game and how I was just like sucked in. Again, like I have to play this video game in 30-minute to like hour, like 1 or maybe 2 hour increments. And it's only once all the kids are in bed, past, 7 o'clock, or maybe I can find like a window during nap time for like 30 minutes, but that's so few and far between. And then like, I really like should be doing school so I was just like, there's no way I've played this game for that long. But, the numbers don't lie. So I literally had just like, I had played 35 hours and I just did not believe that. But and then I checked my brother-in-law because you have like your profile and then you have all your friends and it tells you how many. It's stupid, but I checked to see like how many hours other people had played, and honestly, 35 was the average. Like 3 other people had played for like oddly enough that specific number. But then Campbell, my brother-in-law, had hit 100 hours in 10 days. I was like, bro, oh my goodness. That's 10 hours a day. Anyway, it all just speaks to how phenomenal this game is. I'm going to be playing this game for years, honestly. Yeah, for years. I still feel after 35 hours, that's almost an entire work week. That's almost, maybe not almost, but that's like a day and a half straight. That's so long. Anyway, worth it. So good. I'm going to be putting in a lot more of that. Anyway, it's a masterpiece. It's a 10 out of 10. It is already my favorite video game of all time. And I feel like I've only scratched the surface. I know I've only scratched the surface. It's so good. Okay. I had a few more things I was going to talk about. I'll sort of end on this point. So I also, with this game releasing, I knew it was going to be a game of generation. So I upgraded my Switch, which is the console that I played on, for people that don't know. And so my little brother Josh, was kind of Switch interested. So I was like, all right, bro, hear me out. My little brother is upgrading his PC at the moment, or he just upgraded. So I was like, dude, I'll trade you my Switch for your graphics card. He's got a NVIDIA 2070 Super, which is a good graphics card for sure. It's a really good graphics card. It's probably from 2019 or so it's a few years old. But it's solid. Like, I'm used to my flimsy little MacBook Pro from 2016. You know, I mean, I've been doing all my editing, podcast editing, video editing, schoolwork, everything I've been doing on this Mac, and it's been good. But it chugs. It really chugs, and I've been really wanting to build a PC. So in 1 week, I'm going to be building a PC, which I'm really stoked about. Okay, so Joshua is he also gets a discount because he works at Intel. He gets a discount on Intel parts. So he's buying a brand new Intel Core i5 13700. I'm such a novice. I'm such a noob with all this stuff. I don't know anything about the PC world. Joshua knows everything about the PC world. So I literally was just like, dude, here's the budget, like $1,000. Like, what would you build yourself if you were gonna build a PC like right now with this budget? And he was like, okay, bro, here you go. Like, you're going to get this motherboard, this cooler, this graphics card, this CPU. And so, yeah, I traded him my Switch for his graphics card, and then he's buying me a CPU with his discount, and then I'm going to bring in the rest. And then so next week, I think Josh is going to come down, and he's going to help me set it up. Right, Josh? And then so that also means that he gets to play the new Zelda too. Josh, you got to play it. I'm telling you. Do it. So yeah, I'm kind of venturing into this whole new category of building a PC, taking AI classes. My new job is very computer focused. Kind of drains the eyes every once in a while. Some days I'm just like, damn, I've been on a computer or on a screen a lot today. So I got to remember to balance it out with outdoors time. That's it. Yeah, that's been my life for the past 2 or 3 months. Yeah, I know it's kind of a minute. Kind of took a break there, took a breather, but this felt good. Yeah, I would definitely say this felt good. Man, I just talked for an hour and 15 minutes. Do I want to pick a day to post, or do I just post whenever I feel like it? I don't know. I don't really know. Like, if I'm going to be skipping weeks, and if I'm not going to be consistent on like a weekly basis, then I might just throw them out whenever I do them. I'll record, maybe I'll sit on it for a day or two while I'm editing, and then I'll just post it. I'll just upload it. I don't know if that's better or not, but then again, what's the difference? It doesn't really matter. Because currently I've let off the gas of trying to make this lucrative, of trying to like fast track monetization on this. I've accepted that I'm going to be making my money from Whole Foods for the foreseeable future. So this is there's no pressure for money on this. So successful, not successful, viewers, monetization, ads, it's just like, again, I will circle back to this is just for me. I'm just like, this is just a silly time. Okay. That's it. I'm going to go do some schoolwork. And then I'm probably going to play Zelda. Because Emily, dude, shout out to Emily. She's currently going on a walk right now with Shailene, and my cousin Ben is in town with his girlfriend, and Elle's in town. So they all went for a walk. I was about to go, but I was like, you know what? Nah, let's do a podcast. I feel like it's time to do a solo. But yeah, she took both kids and the dog on a walk with everybody. So, as soon as she gets back, I gotta snap back into gear. Okay, so I'm gonna end this so I can go do school, play some Zelda, eat some food I haven't eaten today. That's another thing I want to talk about. Maybe next time I'll talk about where I'm at food-wise and diet-wise. Kind of back on... I'm always back on super strict, but I'm kind of back on intermittent fasting. I've been snacking too much, so it is... What time is it? It's almost noon. I haven't eaten anything today, so I'll probably have my first meal. Or I won't. I've been just like skipping a lot of meals lately out of necessity. But anyway, that's a conversation for next time. So thank you for listening. And that's it. Have a good day. Bye.